about extraordinary leadership. And maybe the thing that I have come to understand most is that whatever the thing is we think is going to save us is never going to save us. It's not about the thing. It's not about the new thing that's going to save us. It's about quality teaching and implementation of the thing.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be any shock, but there are plenty of problems with the ways that our schools are structured. There are problems with what we're asking students to do and how we're asking them to learn.
The world is changing, and I think they say that that's, the definition of intelligence is the ability to adapt.
If kids don't see the connection to their lives, then they're not going to want to learn it and they're not going to be enthusiastic about it. When they graduate from high school, if they didn't read A Tale of Two Cities, are they going to be okay?
I live in a town of 800 people and have grown to appreciate what the small school has to offer.
I live on a small farm and I go to one of the biggest high schools in the state.
As a senior in high school, I'm moving on to the next phase of my life, college. But I'm concerned about the current education system I'm leaving behind.
We are working together to get our message out. The way schools operate is not working for every student.
We are trying to help bring something new to education. What we have to tell you about is not some new tool.
It's not a new app, or a new textbook, or a different test. It's not the new thing, it's a new mindset.
My name's Bill McKibben. I'm a writer. I wrote the first book about climate change a long time ago. Basically, we've got to come to understand that this is a crop we use a lot of, electrons. And if we don't grow it here, then we're going to be blowing the tops off people's mountains in West Virginia in order to get at their coal. Then we're going to be fracking places all over the country to get at their natural gas. Then, nothing comes for free. If you don't want to have climate change and you don't want to have a nuclear plant like most Vermonters don't, as long as you want to use electricity, and most of us do, you're going to need something. Today was a beautiful sunny day. Think of all that sun going to waste. It's as if we had vast pools of oil just sitting around on the ground and we just were, no one was paying any attention. Well, this is the same thing, except it's completely clean. I mean, if it spills, we call it a sunny day.
What goes into making a net zero house is having a way of living that essentially uses no fossil fuels. The way you achieve this, it's much easier to achieve it if you build a new house, because it's possible now to build houses that are, the technical term is super insulated.
At first glance, Vermont is a peaceful, idyllic state. A closer look, however, reveals an ongoing battle for the welfare of our children. Every year, more and more children enter the foster system, but there are not enough families to take them in. In Vermont, hundreds of children go without nurturing families for lack of a welcoming home each year. These children will suffer from an array of mental and emotional traumas because there is nobody available to support them.
We make a number of reports to DCF each year because we get some information that makes us worry about somebody's safety, and it's not our job to investigate, it's our job to let DCF know, and they can decide whether or not it needs investigation.
If you are considering fostering or adopting a child, you are on the path to giving a child a nurturing environment where they can thrive. There are a few different ways to go about fostering or adopting a child. You can go directly to the DCF or their partner agency, Project Family, via the DCF. If you are already considering it and feel ready to take the final steps, you can contact your local district of DCF and begin the application. We can guarantee that a Vermont child will be grateful for the help that you will be giving them in providing a safer life.
When a call comes in, when someone calls 911, that call goes to a centralized location. It is answered by a dispatcher whose job it is to obtain information and dispatch to the appropriate emergency services.
So the dispatchers are sort of the first responders of the first responders. They take calls from Vermonters who are in need of help. And they dispatch either local police, fire, ambulance to various locations throughout the state, or they dispatch for the state police who cover all of the state.
Okay, so dispatchers are people that answer 911 calls, and they work in dispatch centers. But what's the deal behind consolidation?
Yeah, the dispatch cuts, eliminating 2 dispatch centers in the state of Vermont. That increased the call volume in our local dispatch center. That's Rockingham for Granville. So the workload more or less doubled in that dispatch center. That means the dispatcher is going to be answering twice as many calls and have the same amount of time to relay the information that they've gathered to the necessary agencies.
Well, I would say over time, things are getting better, and we are improving on, any of the areas that they had for concern. We actually have user group meetings, and we meet with the customers, the agencies that we dispatch for, and we welcome feedback, and we do encourage them on a daily basis if there's an issue that they get in contact and communicate with our shift supervisors, and we try to work things out. And like anything, when you have people on both ends and you have equipment in the middle, you're going to have dispatching issues, whether you're in 4 places, 10 places, or 2 places.
And I remember this kid walking on the bus and looking at me writing a poem, and him being like, saying something to the effect of, "Dude, you write poetry? What are you, a fag or something?"
A lot of the reasons that I've seen that people struggle with trans stuff is because they don't really know what their own gender is. Honestly, gender binaries, it sounds like feminists speak. It immediately, it cues for me that kind of eye roll, which is interesting because I'm a feminist and then some.
Society's construct of, the stereotypical male and female and the gender roles connected to that.
Restriction. And it's pretty much an imprint from society.
Most people don't fit into a very binary understanding of gender.
There's all different parts of our identity, and each of us are made up of a number of things that exist on a spectrum separate from each other, right? And so there is our body and sort of the mechanics of what we've got in terms of our bodies based on chromosomes, based on hormones, based on our anatomy, right? And that exists on a spectrum. So there are folks that are assigned female at birth, there are folks that are intersex, and there are folks that are assigned male, right? And so that is about our biology. There is then also our gender identity, and so our kind of innermost sense of who we are and who we know ourselves to be, right? There are tons of gender identities out there. So people identify as transgender, people identify as genderqueer, people identify as agender, as gender fluid, as man, as woman, as demigirl, demiboy, like lots and lots of gender identities that exist, right? And then again, that they exist on a continuum.